Good morning, dear students. Let's begin our science class. In our previous class, we studied about many microorganisms. The disease that are caused by those microorganisms will be discussed today. We have also discussed in our previous class about vaccine. We have also discussed about virus and the types of microorganisms that are bacteria, fungi, algae, and protozoa. Now, let's start with our today's topic, and that is pulse polio. So, what is a pulse polio? First, we need to understand what do you mean by polio. So, it is a viral disease, means it is caused by virus, which damages the nerves in spine. So, spine is our backbone, and there the nerves. These are destroyed or damaged by this polio disease, these virus. This result in weak muscles and paralysis. Paralysis is a state of body when it unable to function properly, and it stops actually, especially in legs. Polio is also called infantile paralysis because from the birth the child is born paralyzed. Polio vaccine can prevent this disease. So here the polio vaccine that has been prepared and is given to a child who is just of 4 to 5 months is very effective vaccine. Pulse polio is a large scale program to eradicate polio from India. So from our India, this pulse program has been eradicated because of this vaccine. This program is being run by United Nations in coordination with the Government of India, and all children under 5 years of age are given polio drops under this program. So here polio drops are provided to the children. Pulse polio has been highly successful against the eradication of polio. So this pulse polio is actually a program in which the polio vaccine has been given to the children so that they can be prevented from the polio disease in their future generations. Increasing soil fertility. So this is another use where we see that how we have able to overcome the bacterial diseases and how bacteria are itself useful. Blue-green algae fix atmospheric nitrogen in soil, we know this thing. Rhizobium bacteria live in root nodules of leguminous plants. The ones who are having legumes in the roots, there rhizobium bacteria live. These bacteria also help in nitrogen fixation of soil. Means they absorb the nitrogen from the environment or the atmosphere and they provide it in the form of nitrogen compound to the plant. Thus, these microbes help in improving the soil fertility. Students, we are discussing about the uses of microbes and we have discussed so many uses till now. The next use is cleaning the environment. Many microbes feed on dead remains of plants and animals, thus the microbes play the role of decomposers. Because they are cleaning the environment, they are removing infections from the environment. Thus microbes help in clearing organic waste from our surroundings. Dead cattle, waste from meat, fish shop, waste from vegetable market, etc. are decomposed because of microbes. Now let's discuss the next heading, that is harmful microorganisms. So as we have discussed so many uses of microorganisms may be also harmful. So there are many harmful microorganisms that we will be going to study. Let's first discuss what do you mean by communicable disease. So a disease which can spread from one person to another is called communicable disease. For example, if you are sitting in a room and one person is coughing and sneezing so badly and you are not having any protective measure, then on the next second or third day you will be also suffering from the same fever. It is because the virus from his body has entered into your body. So that fever is a disease which is communicable. Infectious disease, a disease which is caused by an attack from microbe, is called infectious disease. So this fever will be infectious because the infection has spread or the microbes has been entered in your body. Now what is a pathogen? So a microbe which causes disease is called pathogen. For example, in that person's body, if a virus was there which was causing the disease and it has caused that same disease in you, so the pathogen will be virus. Some examples of pathogen are as follows. Now there are many pathogens which we are discussing. These are not just microbes like bacteria, fungi or something, but they are having specific names. So first pathogen is plasmodium. The disease which plasmodium causes is malaria. Now you might think that mosquito cause malaria, but actually mosquito is carrying this plasmodium pathogen, and when the mosquito sucks our blood, this plasmodium enters to our body. Now how does it transmit to us from mosquito? So it's spread through the bite of female Anopheles mosquito. So mosquito female which is Anopheles, from that it has been spread to our body. The next pathogen is dengue virus. So the disease it causes dengue and mode of transmission is through Aedes mosquito. So Anopheles mosquito cause malaria, Aedes mosquito cause dengue. Common cold virus. Now common cold virus, the disease that it causes common cold and the mode of transmission is through air when someone cough or sneeze. So that I have explained you with an example also. Many bacteria. Now this common cold virus is also called as rhinovirus. Many bacteria cause cholera and diarrhea, which spread through contaminated food and water. Hepatitis B virus cause a disease which is known as hepatitis B through the exchange of body fluids. Means if someone has been given an injection and the same needle is being used to your injection also, then that will be the mixing of the body fluids causing the disease hepatitis B. Similarly is the most dreadful, most fearful and most disastrous disease called AIDS, caused by pathogen HIV. HIV is human immunodeficiency virus, and it is through the exchange of body fluids again. It can also be through the sexual contact. And Bacillus anthracis that cause anthrax in animals, and it is through the contact of one another. The next topic for this chapter will be preventive steps. Now, how to prevent malaria and dengue? So malaria and dengue spread through mosquitoes, so breeding of mosquitoes should be prevented. We should not allow water to stagnate or just stand in the surrounding, because mosquito lay egg in the stagnant water, means that is still, which is not flowing. Frequently clean the water in the cooler. Also you should keep the overhead tank covered. You should also keep the drains properly covered. Fill any ditch with sand or soil and use mosquito repellent creams and mosquito nets to prevent the mosquito bite. Diseases which are caused by microbes in plants. Now in plants also some microbes like bacteria cause citrus canker, and through air it spreads. Similarly in fungi, the fungi cause rust of wheat, which spread through air and the defective seeds. And similarly virus cause yellow vein mosaic of okra, that is through insects. Now what do you mean by food poisoning? Some bacteria produce a toxic substance in food. Consuming a food item with a toxic substance can result in food poisoning. So whenever we eat the food of street, so that time if any bacteria are present in that food, then if we are eating it, then the poisonous substance will go into us, it will cause food poisoning. It is a serious case and needs immediate hospitalization, means you need to admit in the hospital. Lack of timely care in case of food poisoning may prove fatal, means you may even die if you are not having a proper care. And the next topic to be discussed is food preservation. So how to prevent food poisoning? For that we need to preserve food. So techniques to prolong the shelf life of a food are called food preservation, means you can eat the food for a longer time also. We know that microbes proliferate very fast in presence of food, moisture, oxygen, ambient temperature. Ambient means suitable temperature. All the method of food preservation are aimed at ruling out the food, moisture, oxygen and ambient temperature for microbes so that they won't proliferate. So food preservation techniques will be against the bacteria survival. Some common method of food preservation are sun drying. So sun drying is the first method of food preservation. This is a traditional method of food preservation. Sun drying helps in removing the moisture from food. So if you are drying any food in the presence of sun, then it will remove its moisture, and grains are dried in sun before being stored. This we are discussed in crop production and management also. So that's why grains are first sun dried, because the moisture will be removed and eventually the bacteria attack will be removed, bacteria or any microbe attack. Many vegetables are also sun dried so that they can be used in the off season. The next type of preventive measure we can take is like we are keeping the things in fridge, we are storing them and many more. Now let's discuss about the nitrogen fixation. You may have read that 78% of atmosphere is composed of nitrogen, but the green plants cannot utilize the gaseous nitrogen. Gaseous nitrogen needs to be converted into compounds of nitrogen so that plants can utilize it. Although our atmosphere is having 78% of nitrogen, yet we cannot use that nitrogen, neither plants can use. So but plants need oxygen and nitrogen also. So for obtaining that nitrogen, they will be obtaining it in the form of compounds. The process of converting nitrogen into compound which can be used by the green plant is nitrogen fixation, and there are main steps like blue-green algae and some bacteria like rhizobium convert gas nitrogen into compound of nitrogen. Such nitrogenous compounds are deposited in the soil. That's why we say that these rhizobium bacteria are very useful, because they are converting this nitrogen gas into the nitrogenous compounds. During lightning, some of the nitrogen in atmosphere gets converted into compounds of nitrogen. Such nitrogenous compounds reach the soil along with rainwater. So that time also the nitrogen compounds are formed from the nitrogen during the lightning. Green plant absorb nitrogenous compounds from the soil. Plants make protein and various other important molecules from nitrogen, and nitrogen reaches the body of other organisms through the food chain. So if any green plant is eaten by animal, and that animal is eaten by another bigger animal, and that animal is eaten by tertiary consumer, then these all will be having nitrogen. The nitrogen compounds will be transferred from one to another, and finally when the tertiary consumer will die, all the nutrients will get mixed in soil and it will absorb by plant. So this is a nitrogen cycle. A major portion of nitrogen from animal and plant is removed during excretion also. So when the excreta of plants are seen, that is also containing very rich nitrogen, and remaining portion of nitrogen is sent back to environment when dead animals and plants get decomposed. So these excreta and the dead bodies of plants and animals, they are having much nitrogen which decompose, and the nitrogen compounds and the minerals are given back to the soil so that plants can utilize it. So we have completed this chapter. That's all for the day. Thank you and have a nice day.